Hi, Cornelia.
Hi, Iwona. Hey, so good to see you.
Likewise, I'm very happy to be here with you today because we are going to talk about the chapters that we wrote for the book Activate Your Life. So I'm very curious to learn about your chapter. Could you please share with us the title and the main idea behind this?
Yeah, sure. The title, it doesn't sound so fancy in English because it was a catchy title in German. But in English, it is You Are What You Eat.
Hmm.
And in a way, there are a couple of messages behind it. So in a way, that what you put in your body, it has also an influence on yourself and also your energy. And it's also about that now there are so many people, looking after their nutrition, organic food, vegetarian, vegan,
Mhm.
there's so many trends. Um, but I think the main message is you don't need to follow trends, but you need to figure out what's good for you and your body,
Mhm.
because we're all unique, we are all special. And so there is no one fits all. It's you need to figure out what's good for you, and that might not even be good for your family. So it's always good to find that out. And I'm sharing some exercises how you can actually find out what's good for your body.
What's your favorite exercise out of all of the ones that you shared in the book?
um, to find out what's good
Mhm.
for there's I call it the standing method. It's
Mhm.
a kinesiological muscle test,
Mhm.
and with it you can test if is this food good for you or it isn't.
Yeah.
And and it's always, I think this is a big disclaimer, because this is just for the moment, right? So for maybe you've test coffee is not good for me. So there are possibilities you can change the energy of the coffee so it would be good for you. And then on the other side, it's also maybe tomorrow your body is in a different state and then coffee would be okay. So
Yeah.
it's not that it's always the same. And that's kind of the fun part about it.
That's fascinating.
So what's your book about? Your chapter about? I want to know.
The title of my chapter is Creative Bites, the Dance of Ideas, Sky and Trust. And here I describe the power of creativity, of course, that's my favorite topic, but also I share what I observe about the power of safe spaces. That it's very important to create for us safe spaces if we want our inner intrinsic creativity to flow, when we want to develop ideas and solutions in general that are lasting. So that's the main idea behind my chapter.
So anyway, you were saying to really be creative, you need to be in a safe space.
Absolutely. And there are three components related to that. That exactly the dance of ideas, sky, and trust. What it means basically is, when we talk about ideas, I call them three golden rules of creativity. When we talk about ideas, we talk about ideas being always good ideas. So there's no such thing as bad ideas. That's the kind of the foundation of anything that we create, or of any creative endeavors. The second part, the second golden rule, is sky, which means you can be very wide with your ideas because even the sky is not the limit. And the third one is trust, which means, I always say, what happens here stays here. But it's basically creating the trustful space for people to really enable them to be very creative. So that's the three golden rules. And when we have this, we really create that space. We really create a space for people to let their creativity flow. And for me personally, it's very important because I observe that we are educated out of our creativity during our schooling years. So when we are older, you really need to put effort and intentions into bringing your creativity back to the surface, and that's why I'm so passionate about this.
I can completely relate to that, because I think we were also trained not to listen to our body, right?
That's true.
Yeah, so that's it's just kind of seen as a machine that needs to function. And even if you see your body as a machine, you still need to put in optimal gasoline into it so it works properly. And the better you take care of it and understand the needs of your body, the longer it lasts in a really healthy condition. Yeah, that's kind of the idea.
Absolutely. And the
And
same is,
mhm.
for creativity, the more safe spaces we have, the more safe environment we have workplaces or in the schools, at the universities, the more creative you are becoming. It's like a muscle. You're creating and developing the muscle over the years of practicing.
And so, are you sharing in a way how you can create a safe space?
I'm not doing that. I share about the three golden rules, kind
Mm-hmm.
of the foundations for that, but I do share a few exercises how you can tap into your creative potential and practice the skill.
Mm-hmm. So, but can everybody, do you need to go to a place, or at the beginning, is it easier if you go to a place where there's a safe space, or can I create the safe space for myself?
Both. Actually, that's a very great question. You can do the
Metaphoric? Metaphysical.
metaphoric,
Yeah.
metaphysical safe space, but of course you can create a physical safe space. So physical safe space would be at every workspace we can share all of our ideas about whatever the challenge that we are facing and how we can solve it, right? But we know that it's a safe space, which means every idea is a good idea. There's no one staying there with the stick and showing us it's a bad idea. You need to be careful what you're talking about. So of course the physical spaces are extremely important and we definitely need more of them, but also the metaphorical spaces for ourselves, creating kind of this bubble for ourselves to sit down and write down, for example, ideas that we have, or to trust our creative process when we go through creating our businesses or writing a book. So that's more of the metaphorical safe spaces.
Okay. And do you think, just follow up question, do you think that maybe that there is not, I wouldn't say better creativity, but maybe let's say more powerful creativity when you're in a space with others? Do you think you would achieve a higher optimum, or than when you're creative on your own?
Of course, it's better when we work together. Of course, we are also intrinsically unique, that the more creative ideas we bring together to the table, the better in a way they are, or the more opportunities we have and more diversity of the ideas we have available. So that's for sure. But I think in this case, as in case of food, for example, what you mentioned before, it's very important to first work on yourself and to get to know yourself creatively, who you are as a creator, how do you create, what are you, the tools or the talents that you have on the creative spectrum, because then of course you can serve better when you know yourself on this way better. You mentioned the same about food, right? We shouldn't follow the trends, even if we cook in our families, the same food. Maybe the food is not good for us, right?
Mm-hmm. And I was just thinking, because like the way I grew up, yeah, like creativity was quite limited. It's either painting or dancing or singing
Mm,
or composing or whatever. But what I've learned with you is that creativity is so much. It's a huge space. Everything in a way can be creative.
absolutely. I always say creativity is everything, because what we create in our lives, in our businesses, with our thoughts, with our actions, it's really creative. And I also uh, just saw recently a quote that life is an art, and that's true. And art is creativity, right? So when we consider life from this perspective of creation, then things are just getting so much more better and so much more joyful than before, when we consider the life just from the perspective of our mental minds.
Yeah, you just were kind of stealing my quote I'm using all the time. Like,
Really?
yeah, no, in a way, no, I use it, of course, in a different way, saying that everything is energy, right?
Okay.
So now maybe we can agree everything is creative energy.
Exactly. Hey, high five on that. Yeah,
Yeah, but in a way, yeah, you see it from the creative perspective, and of course, there's no right or wrong,
mm,
right? It's just we all have our filters, and most of the time it's the same thing, but we just see it from a different angle. Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
Yes.
And as you're saying, you see it from the creativity angle, and I see it from the energy angle. But in general, the goal is to get better solutions, and also bring more joy, and show people how they can either manage their creativity or their energy. So
Absolutely. And I think at the end of the day, the goal is to become more of who you truly are
exactly,
with both, methodologies.
that's true.
Yeah.
I think we can keep this as kind of the final quote.
Absolutely. It was such a great pleasure to talk to you today, Cornelia. Thank you.
Thank you, Iwona. It was so much fun and lots of energy and creativity. Lots
Thank
of
you.
creative energy.
Exactly, to all of you.
Yes, exactly. Please share what's your creative energy. Would love to hear.
Yeah, thanks.